So there have been a few different statements made by different commissioners of the SEC about blockchain. And the SEC commission is actually 5 different people. So 3 of them are appointed by the president. Well, all 5 are appointed by the president, but 3 are appointed by one party and 2 are appointed by the other party. So we've seen that there have been a couple different commissioners that have come out and made statements about blockchain. Jay Clayton made some that got a lot of coverage, and now we have another commissioner who's come out, Commissioner Pierce, and made statements about blockchain. So Commissioner Pierce came out and addressed a concept that a lot of different people in the industry have been proposing, which is this notion of a sandbox. And I think a lot of them are thinking back to when they were babies, and they were like, oh, that was great being in a sandbox. You'd sit there in your diaper and do whatever you wanted. Awesome, I want a sandbox. But Commissioner Pierce was pointing out that's not really the way sandboxes functioned. In fact, you'd have your mommy there and your daddy there, and they would make sure you weren't biting any of the other babies. And a lot of other countries that have come out and developed some type of regulatory sandbox, they function a little bit that way. So they have somebody from the CFTC sitting right next to you in the sandbox, somebody from the SEC sitting with you in the sandbox, maybe somebody from the CFPB, somebody from FinCEN, and all of a sudden that sandbox starts getting really, really crowded. And every time you want to make a decision, you've got to run it by all these other people that are in the sandbox with you. And that sounds kind of terrible. So what she was proposing is that there be a different model. So instead of having a sandbox where the regulators are intimately involved in the functioning of your business and you're running every plan you have for developing your blockchain by them, it's like a beach where there's a lifeguard that sits and watches what everybody's doing from a distance. And if somebody starts biting someone else or somebody starts drowning, they run out there to help them. Or to stop them from biting other people. But they wouldn't be involved in the day-to-day operations. They wouldn't be giving thumbs up or thumbs down on just regular decisions that are being made in the course of developing the business. And her idea is that will actually give blockchain companies a lot more flexibility to be creative when they're growing their business. So Commissioner Pierce is absolutely not saying that every single token is a security. And in fact, nobody from the SEC has come out and said definitively that every single token or even every single ICO is a security. And it would be kind of silly to say that, because it would be like saying every contract is a security, because you've seen a bunch of contracts that function as securities. But some contracts are investment, some are not investment contracts. And just like contracts can record any manner of agreement between 2 people, blockchains and cryptocurrency tokens function the same way. And really the limits of how a cryptocurrency functions is just the limits of the human imagination and their coding ability. Because you can easily create a cryptocurrency token that functions exactly like a security. You also can easily create a cryptocurrency token that has almost no attributes of a security. You can have something that's given away for free and just tracks wins and losses of your local chess club. So it's absolutely not the case that a cryptocurrency token is always a security or never a security, and nobody from the SEC has come out and said that. So one thing that's really encouraging about what Commissioner Pierce said is she indicated just how open people at the SEC are to meeting with people in the industry and talking through generally whether or not cryptocurrencies are securities, and even specifically for individual projects, whether or not they are likely to be securities. And a lot of people out in the industry have been asking, why is the SEC not meeting more with people in the industry? And in fact, they've been meeting with people for a long time. I mean, I know that in part because I've met with people in the SEC, and this has been going on for years. For me, it's been at least 4 years, and I know lots of people in the industry over that course of time have had meeting after meeting after meeting with people at the SEC. And they're really trying to think through balancing potential risks to investors with their recognition that there's a real value to the blockchain industry that they don't want to accidentally undermine and hurt the U.S. economy.